Alright, so the video is a little bit on the dim side, but I gave you guys a little bit of a backdrop. So there will be cars going past because I'm, in a public space. And I also have my bookmarker in the back as well, to give, something visual besides just the outlook of the street. So the next feminist that I did just post, she did her chapter differently. And one of the things that she did, or what she did do for her particular chapter, because mind too, I told you each feminist dedicates their chapter the way that they want to dedicate it. And so she decided to do hers by listing 10 ways that you can support your support system, specifically the women in your life, because we're talking about feminists. So she dedicated hers to 10 ways that she chooses to support the women in her life, that uplifts her, because we know that it does take more than just yourself. It takes a support system, and you have to have a really strong, solid support system to be able to not only sustain yourself, but to maintain. Because we might have our moments where we kind of fizzle out, or have moments where we kind of want to take a break, and we need that push to keep going, especially when we all feed off of each other and thrive off of each other. So when one goes down or seems to kind of be losing motivation, that's where at least one person in that tribe or in that support group is supposed to acknowledge that and see that one person in the group is kind of not being themselves, and that's where they come in. And if that means taking a trip to see you personally, or getting your attention online because I see you not being yourself, then so be it. We have to do whatever we have to do to get that person's attention and to have them snap back into reality or get back into position, because sometimes we lose focus, sometimes we overindulge. If we don't catch it in the beginning stages, it can be a self-destructing thing. And can you imagine somebody in your group that you really, really like and you see potential in? Can you imagine seeing that person slowly fade off, and then sometimes not being able to get back focused, and they end up self-destructing themselves? It's a hurtful feeling, especially if you really see potential or saw potential in that person, and you see that they're just not getting out of that dark, sunken place. I'm glad, like I shared yesterday, that I had people in my corner that I didn't even know saw something in me that I didn't see at the time, but I'm seeing now, to be able to pull me up out of that and invest in me in ways that were only unimaginable to me. But I'm thankful and I'm grateful, and that keeps me pushing forward and continuing to do my part. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the 10 things. I'm going to do this YouTube video, and I also see a couple words and some other things that I'm going to post on this feminist. So this is not going to be the only thing that I post on this particular person. It's just I saw a potential video, so I said, let me take this opportunity while I'm washing my clothes to go ahead and utilize my time. Why would I sit here and post a bunch of reels if I have a potential topic to talk about? Why not do a video? Make it worthwhile. Videos, recordings are beneficial, especially when you have to support people of a great magnitude like myself. Like I said, I know about the different shelters. I know about the feeding programs. Things are kind of hectic, but they don't have to be hectic if I do my part and keep the sustainment going. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the first one that she shares on ways that we can support the women in our life, or specifically how she supports the women in her life, and then I'll add my own additives as to, you know, my own input, so that way I can make it something of my own and not just using her words as, or just using her words only. I kind of want to create it so that way I share a piece of myself as well. So the first one, the first way she says is to show up for women physically and emotionally. Whether you do a daily check-in, being a shoulder to cry on, calling your mother, or calling someone who has that mother-like figure. This is important for me, and I'm glad this is number one, because I myself was always looking for that strong motherly figure. Now, I did grow up originally, I was lucky and I was blessed, I guess you can say, because I had two mother figures. One wasn't as strong with the emotional feelings because she was so hardcore, but she showed love the best way she could. The other mother that I had in my life, she showed love and taught me things that I still use to this day. And she showed love differently, and I just wasn't used to that type of love that she was showing because, like I said, the other mother figure was showing love in different ways. So I just, when that different type of love was shown, I didn't know how to accept it because I was so used to that tough love. So there was an imbalance there, and it started at a young age. So you need women, whether if they're biological or not, to be able to show and actually live that strongness, that and no matter the age, because we know that I'm middle-aged, so I respect women that can take on the responsibility of taking someone under their wing and showing them what it's like to be a woman, and teach them the ways, the best way they can, on how women should act and conduct themselves. And those daily check-ins, no matter how you implement them, are very crucial, especially to a person who is still trying to learn the ropes of things, still trying to know how to conduct themselves in a womanly fashion, not in an aggressive, manly-like fashion. We don't have to be rough all the time to show that we're strong. We can still conduct ourselves in a more feminine fashion, because that's typically how women are taught to be feminine, to be gentle, to be soft, not to be brash and harsh and just hard to deal with. The second way she says we can show that support is by creating environments for women to take up space. So she says some examples are events, talks, interviews, or even girls' nights. Me personally, being in a room with other women who have strong personalities or are alpha females doesn't really work because we always seem to clash. So I like an environment where I'm in the safety zone of my own space, and I would prefer this to be done as what's happening now, actually online or far away. I don't like people really in my personal space, especially women who are strong like myself, because I'm not going to listen to you, you're not going to listen to me. So, and that's why things transpired the way that they did, because I have such a strong personality and I don't like to be really told what to do. I'm going to do things the way I see fit, the way that's comfortable for me, but at the same time, doing it in a respectful tone. I don't have to be the loudest voice in the room, like people say, or have to show that I'm whoever, and it's not even really like that. It's just, I like my personal space. And it works. The way that I'm doing things, exactly the way that I'm doing it now, by putting my content out there, by having people listen to me, by me listening to people, it works because the job is still getting done, and it's getting done where everyone is comfortable, and I like that. The third thing she said is by being transparent with each other. So being open about jobs, salaries, relationships, hardships, and everything else. Just being able to keep that open communication, being able to talk, being able to not only talk but to listen. Very important. That's the only way things are going to get fixed, if we're open to listen. If you don't listen, how can you expect to know what to change? If you don't have that listening ear, if you're not actually trying to hear another person out besides your own. You'd be surprised what you learn about people just by listening. The next thing that she mentions is don't lift a woman up by tearing another woman down. And that's pretty self-explanatory. I don't have to go into detail with that because it's just what it says. The next way she says is by collaborating. Don't compete. That could be a sensitive topic because alpha females or people who have strong personalities always think that someone's trying to compete with them, even when a person may not even be paying them any attention at all. They're focused on themselves. But that's just how alpha females think. They think that, oh, they're trying to take my spot, they're trying to take what's mine, they're trying to blah, 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 blah. The purpose is to try to find your people. We have some alpha females that are willing to collaborate. Not all alpha females like to work singly, like myself. There's some that would take you up under their wing and actually help you out if you're willing to at least do the basics of what they're trying to tell you. They would teach you the ropes. Sometimes by force, but they'll teach you the ropes. And the next way she says is to strive to look more than pretty. It says, remind the women in your life that the space they take up in your life and the world is not dependent on physical attributes. So we talked about that a little bit yesterday. I touched on that a little bit. I talked about the body image and how we're all shaped differently, but what we might find to be feminine or sexy may be different in someone else's eyes, or what we might find not as attractive may be different in someone else's eyes. It's not about physical attributes. Same thing goes with the face. And I think what she's trying to say is it's more than just the looks, whether it be body, face, attire, but with attire, you also want to dress with some common sense. You don't want to dress too sleazy because that's what you're going to attract. And I've learned that I can still dress the way that's comfortable for me, but not in a way where it's overexposing certain things, especially if I claim that I want different. If I want different, I'm going to have to dress up the sense of style. Most definitely, I find that to be true. The next thing that she goes in saying is never miss an opportunity to facilitate moments of learning between men and women. It's easy to fall victim to stereotypes by saying a man is just being an a-hole or men will be men. So from my understanding of this is take those opportunities. If you're a person like me that likes to learn and is not afraid to ask questions when questions need to be asked, especially now, I'm not afraid now because that's the only way you're going to learn. But my take on this is take those opportunities, even if it's by force, and in a good force, not in a crazy type thing. Come on, get your mind out the gutter. But take those opportunities to collaborate with not just female, because we are talking about feminists, but with males as well. Find your people. You don't have to go with the people that you don't really feel uncomfortable with, or people who are too strong. Like I said, there are strong men and women that are willing to help, sometimes by force, but sometimes you have to kind of like forcefully be like, okay, it's going to be like this, and you're going to listen, because people who are strong like me, sometimes you have to kind of be forceful, because again, I'm not going to really listen if you're not. Sad to say, but I know how I am. But I'm glad that the opportunity presented itself, because that's how we learn sometimes. But like I said, if you're a person like me who likes to learn, do your research. Go put yourself in rooms or in places where you can get that support that you need, especially if you know you don't have it like that, i.e. meeting family that's close by. You don't have the money to be able to get those resources on your own. Kind of put one way to do this is, sad to say this, y'all, but by doing a contract, getting in the military. It opens doors for you that wouldn't be open any other way, especially if you don't have those resources. Those resources will come to you, especially if the right leader or leaders see that you're trying, i.e. staying consistent. That's the number one thing. Investment. If they're going to invest in you, they're going to want to see if it's going to be long term, something that has potential. If not, they're not going to want to waste their resources, or they're going to give up on you and say, you know what, I can't do this. I don't no longer want to be a part of this, and that's what you don't want. Once you get your foot in those doors, you have to keep your foot in those doors, especially when you know the opportunities already are presenting themselves. You don't want to waste your investors' time. Over time, you can dress up your outward appearance. It's not about outward appearance, especially when you first start out. The purpose or the goal is to keep those investors interested, to keep their interest peaked, to be spontaneous, to change things up, not to be doing the same thing day in and day out, because they will get bored. They will want to invest in someone else. They're not going to tell you that, but you'll notice the signs. The signs are always there. So that's why you have to pay attention. Another way that she says is hire women, train women, and mentor women. Be the vehicle that turns a young woman with big dreams into the badass she is destined to be. This basically happened to me. Little did I know I was being passed around to the right people, not even knowing that people were monitoring my behaviors. They were monitoring how I am adapting to the different things that are being thrown at me. I was being trained low-key and I didn't even really know it. Now I'm aware. And that is pushing me to be my full potential. It's pushing my siblings and my cousins and my associates and my other, family members to see that if I can do it, and those who know me personally know that I came from the struggle, like literally from the gutter. the dirt. I don't have even though I have some things passed down to me, I wasn't ready for those things. It's a process. I had to get completely broken down and rebuilt from scratch, literally. And I'm still, being built up. It's still a lot of things that I have to work on. There's still a lot of things that I have to prepare myself for. And if I want to continue being the creator that I'm trying to strive to be, it takes a lot of training. It takes a lot of grooming. And that is why you groom at a young age. Don't be like me and want to be wild and outdoors and not taking heed on what is being or what's trying to be instilled in you. Listen to your parents, or if you're not living with your parents, listen to those guardians, should I say? Because guardians makes more sense. Because sometimes people don't always live with their parents or get their instruction from their parents. It's always a guardian, a grandma, a granddad, an aunt. If you get lucky enough, a father figure of some sort. But my transition, my way of getting trained to be the person that I'm striving to be is unethical. Not unethical, but it's unusual. The way that I got to where I'm at now. I literally had to be put in multiple rooms. And I say put in multiple rooms because some people, like I said, I rubbed the wrong way and they didn't want any more dealings with me because of how strong of a person I started becoming. And I understand this now, that some people are just not willing to, or they don't have the patience to deal with a person of my stature, I should say. Sometimes being hard to handle is not always a good thing. It's not a good thing at all, to be honest, because like I said, some people don't have the patience. They don't want to wait around and see if things will change. They'll just rather just recycle you onto someone else. But I'm glad that where I'm at now is getting to the point where I'm starting to notice the negatives and turn those negatives around, and to the best of my ability. Because like I said, every day, I'm probably going to say something sassy. Every day I'm probably going to do something sassy, but we're not perfect, but we are striving to change and not do certain things the way that we used to. It's not going to happen overnight. And I'm not trying to say I'm trying to change who I am, but I'm trying to change the manner of how I'm doing and saying things. The next thing, the ninth thing she says is carry lipstick. Pain relief like aspirin or Tylenol and tampons always. Save a sister, make a new friend. I like that. Would I carry lipstick on me? No. I'm not a lipstick type of girl. But I know some powerful women that do wear lipstick. And they've kept me to this day. Will I carry Carmex and not put it on? Yes. But I'm learning to put it on. Why carry it if I'm not going to moisturize my lips? It doesn't make sense. But I like that. Always come prepared. I don't use tampons. I do use either the undergarments, the actual disposable underwear, or I use the pads. I'm old school. I'm old fashioned. I'm an old lady. But I've witnessed several occasions where someone's cycle would come on and they weren't prepared because it either came on too early or it came on a little bit late. So to prevent those embarrassing moments, you want to always make sure that you can help someone out. And just because I don't wear lipstick, someone might. I've had a person or two ask me if I have Carmex. Y'all know how I am about sharing my stuff, but I do always, most of the time, carry some type of hand sanitizer or some type of Lysol, a mini version of some type of thing that I can use to moisturize or to sanitize the hands. So if someone were to ask me for Carmex, I don't mind today sharing. Would I do that to everyone who asks? Or sometimes if I'm not in the mood, I'll probably gently say no, I'm sorry. But I don't mind sometimes sharing my Carmex for someone who's in need, or giving them a sanitary item if they need it, because no one wants that embarrassing moment, especially if they have light colored pants on. That's something to think about. Now that I'm saying that, I'm thinking about times when I had some embarrassing moments that were probably caught that I didn't even catch myself. So this is very, very important, and it happens to be number 9. So that's quite funny. The last thing that she mentions is step up to the spotlight. Not just an example of others, but for yourself. And I like that, because some people actually do look for people to step up and actually be that advocate for people who are scared to voice up or scared to say what's right, what's wrong. Because like I said, women are taught to be gentle creatures. They're not taught to be like men and very harsh and loud and mean. So it takes a very special female, or woman should I say, to be able to step up and be like, I got you, I'll help you, let me help you. I see that you need some assistance. I see that you need some support and some guidance. I will be there for you as long as you're willing to listen to me, as long as you're willing to do as I say do. And we need that sometimes, especially me. I've always was looking for that in a female, because at that time, or still to this day, I didn't really get that the way that I felt like I needed. So very, very important that we treasure and we give thanks to those women, especially if you're not related. It takes a special stranger to come in and be willing to say, I will guide you. I see now, after some thorough looking out, I see now that you need some guidance. You don't have that. Or I see that the women who are supposed to be guiding you are not really guiding you in the right direction, or they're doing it in a way that's kind of toxic. Let me introduce you to a world that's not as toxic, or not toxic at all, because there's healthy ways to do things without being toxic and wicked and just downright evil. You can get things across to people in a way that's more gentle, more loving, and in a way where they will actually take heed, in a way that they will actually listen. So I like the fact that, again, that people, women, because we're talking about feminists, but women in general, I like the fact that there are brave ones that step up and take people with abandonment issues, and it's not an easy job, because they already have that sense of I don't trust, or I don't know if I want to go this route. We will always have an excuse to say why we can't So when we do let our guard down and we are willing to trust the women who step up in our lives and are willing to take on the role of lifting you up, it's always a very special thing. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this video so I can go ahead and put my clothes in the dryer. And while my clothes are in the dryer, I'm going to continue on with my book content. Now, I will be still doing my workout video or my workout recording. That will happen as soon as I drop my clothes off. I'm up for today. I'm not going back to sleep. I slept enough. It's just I'm slowly working through the day. I want to make sure that my phone is equally charged. I want to make sure that I'm doing everything that I need to do in a respectable manner, in a respectable time, and also making sure that I make time for my work day. So everything is working out the way that it needs to work out. That's why it comes to perfect timing. Timing your stuff to the T. Making sure you stay on a timely schedule. Taking those breaks, but still knowing when to get off break. We're not wanting to stay on break. The purpose is to keep the momentum going throughout the day with breaks as needed, but using those breaks in a common sense type of manner, not overly doing it, not underly doing it, but staying connected, staying linked in, showing your supporters, showing your loved ones that I'm in a rested state right now, but I'm still, engaged. I'll come back to you. Let me just take this breather or take this meditation time to get in a breather, or like I said, having self-time, taking that self-time to talk to God, to do your meditation, do whatever you need to do to make sure that when you post your next content or you record your next video, that you're fully there, that you're fully engaged, that you're fully in mode to put in the work. Because people will see that, they're recording, but it seems like they don't really enjoy what they're doing, or it seems like they're not in the mood. Something's changed. What happened? I like that they're keeping the momentum up, but it looks like they're just doing it just to post a video. They're just recording just to say that I posted something up. People will look at body language. People look at the tone of your voice. They listen to the tone of your voice. So it's best to, like I said, if you're not feeling it at that point in time, take a break. Take a walk outside. Take a quick drive if you're a driver. Take a drive to anywhere where there's water, where you can sit and kind of get your thoughts together before you pick up the phone and record. Make sure that it's your all in all, not it like it's another task or chore that you have to do, because people are going to pay attention. People put their investments in things that they feel are worth the investment. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this video, and then I will pick up with the continuation of the day.